Welcome back to the Diecast Museum, and today I have an M2 Castline video for you guys. I've got a huge haul of M2 products that I've purchased over the last couple of months. I also got this on my doorstep today. Thank you very much, Stephen. Stephen Papa has sent me a mystery random act of kindness box, totally unexpected, all the way from Australia. So I've got a huge box here. That's going to get opened up in the next video. This video is going to be my M2 haul. So let's take a look at what I've got. Some really cool things here. A lot of really nice trucks, Ford and Dodge. Got some muscle cars as well. So we're going to be adding these to the collection. And everything's coming out for a full loose review here on the table. So let's take a look at what we have here. Got my implements ready, screwdriver, a box knife, things to open up the packaging pretty quickly and easily. And as you can see, a lot of cool stuff to look at. There's a problem with the hood. Oh, okay. There's a big problem with the hood. It is completely detached from the vehicle. I may have cracked the windshield. I did. I've cracked. So my complaint starts immediately with the fact that I tried to close the hood and cracked the windshield, which is just barely visible because that's as far as that hood's going to open without breaking something. Oh, and okay, so I've just shut the hood and now the headlight has fallen out of the model completely. Two-door opening coupe. Again, the door feels like it's going to bust right off if I try to pull on that. And just before I sit down to take you through this review of the M2, let's take a little look around the Diecast Museum here. This is the main portion of the Hot Wheels Room Museum. I've got lots of stuff still to share with you guys and a lot more on the way, including all of my old vintage Matchbox cars, which will be coming up shortly. So if you're waiting for a Matchbox vintage review video, well, things are sorted and ready to be shown in the next portion of that series. Everything's sorted here on the Sam's Salvage Yard. We've got to get this thing back up and running again. And there's even more down on the floor. More Matchbox, as well as a whole box full of Hot Wheels treasure hunts that I found in my drawers. So, without further ado, let's get into the M2 review. And now here we are sitting down for the M2 review. Let's take a look at what we're going to see here. Everything's still in the packaging. It's all going to be out of the packaging after this little pan over. But as you can see, we've got a lot of cool stuff. This was all released, I'm pretty sure, in the last year. I've accumulated most of it from Walmart and a lot of it also from eBay. Just things I really need to add into my collection. I mean, check out the patina. I love the patinaed old cars. And you saw that Ford truck as well. Very hard to come by. All patinaed up, so we're definitely going to enjoy opening those up. We've got this 2-pack of the Dodges. I love collecting the Dodge trucks, and that one is going to come out. We've got a few Chevy Camaros and a couple Ford Broncos, which I found at the local Walmart. And then 2 more already opened up and loose at my Aurelia Diecast store, so that was pretty cool. So I've got duplicates there, but we'll just take a look at them. We've got a few Fords, Ford Mustang and Mercury, Chevy 2-door, big old Ford truck with a Ford commercial truck as well. Everything, again, going to come out for the loose roll review. Let's get things started with this Ford patinaed truck. I'm not going to go through all of the review years and stuff unless you have a specific interest in one of these vehicles and you couldn't see the release number down on the bottom and you need some help searching for it. Throw me a comment down in the comment section and I can certainly help you out, or perhaps another viewer of my channel might read that as well and help you out if I don't get to it first. But the process to take these vehicles off their stands is a little intensive and takes a little bit of time. So I just thought I'd walk you through that very first step in case you're new to M2. You get that nice little display and most often an opening function such as the hood on this truck, which reveals a detailed engine bay, but just a really nice looking truck. So each one is going to get a little final wipe and shine up with my microfiber rag to remove any possible residue during the shipping process or the manufacturing process. But really, these trucks come out awesome. Once we get those 2 screws off, guaranteed it's going to roll real nice, as often these vehicles do. Not all of them, but most of them do. And here we go, using the little mini screwdriver. This is a Mastercraft. Oftentimes M2 kits come with a little Starhead or Phillips screwdriver to help you get this completed. And of course there's a bit of twizzling involved. So let's get that completely off. Well, that's new. Normally there's a piece still stuck to the chassis before you get it to this stage, but it looks like it all came apart at once, which is quite nice. We've got these new screws, actually, longer screws. I haven't seen something like this from M2, so that's a very welcome new addition to the M2 packaging process for those of us that like to open up the trucks and cars and release them into the wild. And we've got a roller, of course. We've got a beautiful roller here, but really appreciating that. Instead of having that little piece of plastic that used to be a jumper for those higher vehicles, the lifted vehicles, you have to typically take another piece off of the vehicle. So that's really welcome to see. And that's going to make this whole process a little easier. What I'm talking about those jumpers is you can see one right here. There's a jumper right there. So this is an older release. And this is a very new release, I do believe. So probably still quite current. At the time of filming, you should be able to find that one in your local stores, wherever M2 are sold. Alright guys, because I have so many cars to look at here, and I don't want to miss all the awesome details on what models these represent year by year, and all of that, I'm going to go by brand. So we've gone with Ford first, opening up all the Ford vehicles, as well as one Mercury. So we're going to just take a look at each of those, and then we're going to go into the Dodges and the Chevys, and finally I've got one little Datsun to look at. Let's start with the Ford Bronco 2-pack, which has that nice die-cast lift included. That is a Release 27, 1966 Ford Bronco. You've got the convertible and the, I think it's a soft top, hard top removal perhaps, spare tires. Either way, let's take a look at these for the full unbiased review. Very nice. I do have some complaints about M2. I've just noticed on some of the vehicles I've opened up, but not this one in particular, which is good. Ooh, that sounded like quite a click there. Yeah, still got to be careful there. Don't want to break a hinge. A little bit of resistance. I may have cracked the windshield. I did. I've cracked. So my complaint starts immediately with the fact that I tried to close the hood and cracked the windshield. But luckily the windshield is still attached. So be careful when you close your hoods. They don't just snap shut all the time. Sometimes they do. Oh yeah, this one's definitely prone. You can feel the resistance. I was not aware of that. I've not had this problem in the past with the Ford Bronco die-cast model. But now the hood is, there's a problem with the hood. Oh, okay. There's a big problem with the hood. It is completely detached from the vehicle. It's definitely getting hung up on the plastic in the windshield portion of the casting, which is a terrible shame. All I did was open these hoods for the review, and now I'm cracking windows and removing hoods entirely. Not a good start to the M2 review, guys, to be quite honest. That's a shame. Real shame. That window crack is quite noticeable for me. That's terrible. At least I have a second set, and I didn't pay much for these opened up. I'm wondering if that's just something particular with these two, given that I didn't actually open these myself. I'm wondering if something happened there with the previous owner. Doesn't look like they had been opened or closed, obviously, or that could have happened to the previous owner, and then I would have seen that, because I definitely heard that audible snap as the windshield cracked. Very unfortunate. I will get my complaint department over with in the next vehicle here, and that comes from this kind of a heavy hauler, sort of Release 77, 1966 Ford C950 truck. And as part of the set, you get a 1972 Ford 250 4x4 truck right here, which, let's start with that. Let's shift away from the complaints for at least one vehicle. This one is pretty decent. Hood opens nicely, drops down nicely. Small complaint here. I'm not liking the headlights on this one, and I notice this on the other Ford I have as well. If I go right in for a zoomage, I mean, it's just not the quality I'm expecting and have seen in the past. Too much glue on the headlights make it look like they've got some problems there. So Kind of hoping that doesn't continue with this particular casting or any of the other castings for that matter. Rollability is doing really well. Like that. I like the truck. I like the model. Paint livery is nice as well. This 950 has a problem. They all do. I'm surprised that M2 has not been able to solve this problem as of yet. You can clearly see that the box of this truck is tilted heavily towards the rear. It doesn't sit flat and level as it should. And I don't think I've ever seen one of these box trucks that actually sits level and flat with the frame. And thereby, unless the little casting is one that's desirable to me, it is a very tough buy to spend $30 Canadian for this truck. I'm not sure, maybe $20 American. Regardless, too much money, given that the rest of the models are $10 Canadian, maybe $7 American. 3 times as much, so you're spending $20 for this truck, essentially, and $10 for this one, in my opinion, given that this one's $10. And yet this truck is mostly plastic. The fit and finish is actually quite terrible. The back wheels are horrendous. They don't roll. And this truck is just plagued with problems. So I don't think I'll be buying any more of these, even if they do come with a cool model, because to me this feels like a rip-off, and hopefully M2 can solve that problem. It's definitely not fun. We are over to the 1987 Ford Mustang GT. This is from release 92, and this one does feature an opening hood with a nice little detailed engine, which is just barely visible because that's as far as that hood's going to open without breaking something. Oh, and okay, so I've just shut the hood, and now the headlight has fallen out of the model completely, so that's going to have to be glued in. It's a real shame that we're having these problems. And the headlight flashing is not acceptable in my opinion on these models. There's way too much flashing, and the fact that they're not even glued in implies that M2 might be assuming that the owners of these cars are not going to remove them from the little boxes. That's a real problem in my opinion. These cars are designed to be either displayed in the packaging, assuming the quality is good, or out of the packaging and realizing that quality. Also, flashing on the taillights is a bit too much for my liking. I'm going to probably have to cut back on my M2 expenditures given the problems that we're seeing here repeatedly. These are newer models as well, so unless we're really having a real plague of problems here, not impressed by that. We've got the release 94 Mercury Custom, and this car has a lovely paint job and great hubcaps with super nice white wall tires. Disappointed to see that the hood, although cast separately, does not open on this model at all, and I've picked and prodded at it. It does not open. I feel like the pillars might be a little bit heavy and thick, making the windshield look very toyish, like a tin toy from yesteryear. And so that I didn't like about the model so much, but I did like the model enough to purchase it. I don't normally purchase this particular casting, so, but it does roll nice. Everything's rolling good, but we've got headlights falling off, hoods falling off, flashing everywhere, bent trucks, broken windshields. We're off to a bad start here. So as you may imagine, I am all out pissed at the quality so far on these M2 Castline products, which I have paid dearly for, hard-earned cash, a lot of cash here, several $100s, and so far just about everything has broken. So hopefully this could turn around a little bit in this video review, but I do have a stern warning to M2. You got to get your game up because we've got other things that we can buy. Greenlight has really amped up their quality these days. Hot Wheels and Matchbox are making pretty good stuff at the same price point as you guys are. And I definitely don't want to be opening up every car and seeing the flaws. I mean, we're not seeing fingerprints and goo, but there's too much glue. Not goo, but I guess that is goo. Goo, glue, flashings, misaligned chassis, broken parts, things that don't open fully. Like, you know, you got to get your shit together, guys. And with that slight departure in my opinionated review of the product so far that I love to collect, not today so much. Some good stuff here, but let's hope for better. And we're going to get into, I think, Chevy or Dodge. We'll get into Dodge next. See what we've got here. So we've got nice little Plymouth Roadrunner. We do have another truck and car with a trailer, so that I have high hopes for. I've never had a problem with these before. And again, I should never say never, because there probably is a problem. I just don't remember in the past. We've got 3 more lovely looking Dodge trucks. They look lovely when they're in the package, so let's hope they continue to look lovely as they come out. Already slight gripe on the misalignment between the box and the cab. I mean, we know that there are 1/64 scale diecast companies out there that can get this correct at almost the same price point, and I unfortunately am going to put M2 to the test here, and I'm going to pull out some of my higher quality brands that I've been collecting lately to share with you guys and just show that we don't need to have these sorts of problems. I mean, they're minor for some of the models, but it's definitely an eye-opener as to what has happened already with the Fords. So this was totally unintended as part of this video. It was going to be an M2 only video, but brands that I've been collecting, now they are pricier, given that I have to buy these from overseas, but we're looking at Mini GT. Very nice quality. We're looking at Tommy Tech. Incredible quality. These are from Japan, I believe. And check out this little Toyota Hilux. Oh, I broke a mirror off of it. Well, okay, so that happened. But the quality on this truck is impeccable. Looks like that mirror just kind of fell off. So not impervious. Not every brand is immune to having parts fall off their vehicles. As we can see, the mirror has definitely not been adhered properly to this little beautiful truck. But I am taking them out of the package one-handed at this point, so that's not great. We've also got Para, or 64 Para. Looks pretty good so far. Not seeing any glue. Now, mind you, that's in the package. Do a fair review, I'd have to take it completely out of the package. I have opened up some of these little BMC models. Their quality is impeccable. However, they are extremely fragile. Just nice stuff. You got to be mindful of where you're putting your hard-earned dollars. And we got to keep these companies accountable. Don't leave them in the package. I don't know what the resale value is going to be in the long run, but if you enjoy collecting and you don't just want to stuff them in a box and forget about them in your garage or whatever, get them out, have a look, repair them where you can, get yourself a little tube of hobby glue, get good at practice on some $1 cars, get good at fixing them up, because that seems to be par for the course with collecting cars, no matter what the brand is. But some things, you know, just aren't cool. So let's continue this review as we get into the Dodge trucks and hope for the best. All right, I have gone ahead and opened up a whole bunch of Dodge and Plymouth vehicles, and I've brought a few more to the table from my collection, and you'll see why in a second. Most of these I've already removed from their platforms, with the exception of the Dodge 2-pack of pickup trucks. So we'll just take a look at those. I did need to shine them up a little bit, but overall they look pretty good. White walls are typically a little misshapen, as they often are. And the hoods do open and close, which is good. So I will be adding those to my loose collection. However, check out the lift. Looks a little wonky, does it not? Should that not be vertical? It's like too wide or something. I'm sure that can be adjusted, but then again, who knows for certain. It does have little screws that actually attach the top to the bottom. It's almost seemingly that the bottom plate is not wide enough for the pins that hold the lift into place. Just an observation. It's not the end of the world for me, because the lifts will basically go in the garbage. We're going to look next at my next gripe, unfortunately, which is the 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner, release 94. And much like the Ford F-250 we just saw from release 90, both have the same style of patina, which to me looks a little bit like a child just scribbled on them with a marker. It doesn't really look real. It's, first of all, we have a shiny, glossy finish to the overall paint job, and then we've got this kind of scratchy brown, fairly solid-looking paint job. The hood doesn't close completely on this car. It's springy. The doors do open and close, which is nice. They seem to be functioning. However, let me take you back a couple years to an M2 exact same car released not all that long ago, and look at the difference in patina. Same car, essentially. Which one do you think looks more realistic? Why have they gone to this shiny, glossy, scratchy crayon look of cars when it isn't really accurate for a patina on a car? Like, the shininess alone is the worst. This one here has, and this is a cheap version. This was from a cheap set of M2s. It has a plastic base. I'm not sure exactly what set this came in, but it wasn't a premium set, and yet it still has an opening hood. No, it doesn't. It's separately cast shot. But either way, the patina is the proper finish, and we've got rust. You know, it still just smudges of brown. That can be done better. That really can be done better. Here's green light. They've got a wagon. They've got little smudges of brown to indicate rust. That dusty version with varying amounts of dust, kind of making it look a little more realistic. And just, again, like looking at the difference here. Maybe it's just the shine on the M2, but I think if this car was dusty, it would look a whole lot better. Now taking it a step further in the quality level, we've got the Johnny Lightning Toyota Land Cruiser, I believe. And here we can see very, very different quality of paint. Now, Johnny Lightning is also affiliated with the brand Auto World, which is a very high quality brand of diecast sold in North America. But you can see the difference between the abilities of the paint machines, the producers, the artists, whatever the case may be, to produce some realistic looking weathering and graphics on these cars versus this really unusual shine. Now, the Ford is not that shiny, but it's not dull either. It's a bit more of a satin look, and I think it would look a lot better, even just with that kind of monotone, one-color rust look, if it was dull as the cars they produced in the past. And even better if it had a bit of dust on it, the way Greenlight makes their vehicles. Prone to some problems as well. I'm not going to give them like a full pass on that. Johnny Lightning seems to really do very well with their weathering. And of course, there are other brands as well, such as this BMC Toyota Hilux. Let's take a look at what is capable. We've got weathered tires and wheels, some supplement parts. And this is not a review of the BMC model, but more just what is capable at this scale for rusting. Here we have some very accurate looking mud splatters. Maybe not exactly in the right spots. That's kind of a weird spot to have a mud splatter. It should be more, behind the rear wheel, I would say, versus right there. Someone kind of screwed up on that. We've got some mud splatters on the hood. Does this hood even open? I don't know. Maybe not. Nope, it's cast shut. But either way, very capable to make realistic weathering on vehicles. And I think we need to see that and insist on that more. And by doing so with our wallets, guys. Okay, well, let's continue to look at what we have from M2 here. We do have this Pick 'em Up Dodge truck and Plymouth set. So in this set, you get release 77, 1979 Dodge 150 Power Wagon, and a 69 Plymouth Roadrunner Hemi. And nice little set here, I have to say. Trailer functions well enough. I mean, it's got a million holes in it. Well, 4. Based on the fact that the car is screwed to the trailer. It's kind of unfortunate that they have to do it that way. Maybe there would, I know elastic bands are not my favorite either, but there's got to be a better way than just drilling your holes right through your trailer. For those of us that open them up, it's not great unless you keep the car on the trailer, and that's not always what you want to do for a diorama setup. Again, it's probably the minority of people, given the fact that most people probably just keep these in the box, throw them in their garage, and never look at them again. The car has some flaws with the hood. It's got a satin finish sort of look. The hood does not open, similar to the lower quality dusty Plymouth that we looked at from years ago. So this is the cheap version. I believe that base is indeed plastic, same as the cheap dusty version we looked at, unlike this strangely glossy version, which has a metal base and an opening hood. I do like the paint job on it. However, it does have that issue with the hood having kind of finger grime once again. In the 21st century, well into the 21st century, I'm amazed that we're still seeing this level of problems with many diecast manufacturers. A common complaint I'm going to bring up, I've actually never complained personally about this in my channel or my videos, but why has M2 only got one casting for the box on their trucks? This is the same casting of the box, a separate piece from the entire cab, that they've been using for years and years. It's designed to facilitate a lowrider or slammed truck that has wheels up in the fender wells and therefore a very shallow bed base. Why, after all of these years, are we still getting like rampant complaints that this is not accurate? It looks funny. Even when it's left in the packaging, it looks really weird. It's quite obvious. There's all these holes drilled in this baseline box for various attachments and roll bars, and yet $30 for a plastic base Plymouth with no opening parts, a drilled apart trailer, and a truck with a box that hasn't changed in the entire line of M2. Also, what's going on with you open the hood? You're going to bother putting an opening hood on this truck? And I'm getting overly critical here. I understand, guys, and apologies if it seems like a negative video, but it's time for a change when it comes to the M2 casting. Otherwise, my money is elsewhere. This is silly. Like, this doesn't even look like a fender well on the inside. It's just a rectangular box housing a chunk of plastic with bare minimum details. Overall, I love the casting. I think that's what the only reason why I'm buying M2 products at this point is because no one else is making a really nice lifted Dodge truck like this. And, you know, if someone else did, and it was at around the same price point, because I'm sure this can be done better, that would be a real problem for M2. So I really hope M2, because I like M2, does get their game together and stop producing stuff that is just really, you know, not great. So here we have a nice little 1972 Adventure SE. I love the indications that there are different, you know, series of vehicles sold through these years. It's almost an educational purpose, but again, you know, you're going to see this bed on every single truck, even though it's not required. Auto World doesn't do this. Greenlight doesn't do this. Why is M2 the only one that can't make a separate casting of such a small part and just increase the quality of their vehicle to be competitive in the global market of 1/64 scale diecast? I don't know. I have no idea. Hopefully someone sees this from the company and does something about it, because it's really quite unacceptable in my opinion going forwards. We've got a nice little model here of the 74 W200 Power Wagon. We've got a metallic green paint job. Again, nice. It has the opening hood feature, and it does close and open nicely. Windshield is nice and shiny. The headlights on these are actually good. There's no problems with the headlights. This bumper feels like it's about to fall off. That's not the end of the world. That can happen. What else have we got? This is an old casting from M2. It's nice to see it still exists, and it shows where M2 came from as far as quality. Super detailed engine with proper fender wells, radiator, a ton of grille details. The headlights are a little messed up on the inner ones, but that's 4 tiny pieces of plastic that have to be glued in. Check out the details on that front grille. Hood ornament, like, this is a top quality model in my opinion, but probably not one that's overly desirable, and one that's just being churned out from M2 at this point due to the fact they already have the casting and the moldings for it. So kind of an easy fill-in to kind of complete a 6-vehicle series. White walls on this one look pretty good. Doors open and close nicely. Fins are sharp, and it has a metal base, and actually it rolls really nice. They didn't always roll this nicely, but that's somewhere where M2 is excelling. Now we have a 1974 Dodge truck and 1971 Plymouth. And this is a funny car, of course, moon equipped. Really nice engine and exhausts. But again, we've got a problem already. Exhaust, it's hard to see. Exhaust is all out of alignment. This one's dropped right down. It's not actually flexible, so that will snap if I push on it. It's not glued in properly. Just minor fit and finish details are really causing a problem for the overall appeal to these cars when you actually open them up. I mean, look at how low the exhaust is now on that side of the car. It should be up and over the lower panel of the door. Small things, but when you're spending $30 for this truck and car, Canadian, like, it should be a no-brainer that the quality would be on par with that. There's other options out there. Those are designed to come out. They came in a separate bag, so that's not something. But, like, look at the suggestion of a hitch. That's not going to do anything. That's not even compatible with the other hitches that M2 has. Check out the difference there. It's a suggestion of a hitch. It has a tiny little nib of plastic that will break off if you touch it. And it's not compatible with any trailer. Why did they even put this hitch on this truck? That's not going to work at all. Like, it's just garbage. So I don't know what's going on here, but someone is not paying attention in the quality control department. Whoever that is probably should, get their shit together, guys. Like, it's not that hard to do. Okay, so that's the Dodge Plymouth. We've got a few Chevys and Datsuns left to look at. I don't expect this video is really going to turn around in positivity. So if you're not liking the negativity, well, I'll see you in the next one. And hopefully we'll have something nicer to say. But right now, I'm overall quite pissed at the amount of money I've spent on these collectibles. And they are not in what I would consider a long-term collectible sort of valuation or condition. And now we are looking at the final segue of vehicles here. Starting out with the Datsun. Released 93, 1977 Datsun pickup. No complaints on this model. Really nice. White walls are acceptable. Could be, well, no, they're not acceptable. They could be a lot better. Again, we live in the year 2025. This has been done before. This is not that much of a challenge. Like, it shouldn't be that hard to get the white line figured out on a black circle in the year 2025. So, not acceptable, actually. Nicely detailed engine. Good quality paint and finish on this one otherwise. And it rolls, so that's good. We're now looking at 6 Chevys. We're just going to go through the line here. Nope, that's not it. 1968 Chevrolet Camaro SS 350. This one has a roll cage. 2 opening doors. Very stiff. I almost broke this door off, I think, just trying to open it. So they do close nicely, though. Fit and finish is pretty good. Suggestion of an engine under there. Closing hood. Really nice metallic paint job. Wheels are decent. Nice cast wheels. Not, well, yeah, no flashing issues on the wheels. Crooked taillights, but not terrible. And so, like, really good. Again, the video started off with some negativity, unfortunately, and so I may be overly critical where I normally am not. But there's no point me glossing over this stuff. I'm paying my hard-earned dollars for these cars, and you guys are spending your hard-earned minutes watching this video, perhaps, to see the review and potentially make decisions on where you're going to put your money. We have a 1955 Chevrolet Bel-Aire R92. 2-door opening coupe. Again, the door feels like it's going to bust right off if I try to pull on that. One door can open slightly. Hood opens decently and exposes a nice little engine. Tinted glass. Hood ornament is on there. Now the hood is not wanting to close. You got to be really careful. It's already crooked. You got to massage that hood back down into place, unfortunately, on this casting. So be careful if you are opening these up and not taking your time on them. Otherwise, a nice model. It has the drag strip tires, yet it still rolls really good. So that's impressive. What are we looking at next? A couple more Camaros. So we've got a couple, I believe, 85 IROC Zs. Nice paint job on this one with the yellow Goodyear lettering tires. Good detailed engine. Great detailed painted headlights. A lot of people tell me in the comments that they prefer the plastic inset headlights. Well, that only works if they're painted or if they're installed correctly. But here we have some plastic taillights, which they do look good, but they're crooked. We've got multiple colors and paint on those taillight pieces. The headlights, although they can also be painted crooked, they're not on this particular model. So I tend to enjoy the non-plastic headlights and taillights if they can be done properly without misalignment and glue problems. Then yeah, they look great, but I imagine that's harder to do. So here we have another IROC. This one's got some drag racing livery on it. Nice little window with the 85 Chevrolet bow tie on it. Rolls really nice, even despite having those big fat tires on it. Last two vehicles we're going to look at today are probably a couple of my favorites. These big old Chevy Vanduras. I think these are the G series vans, are they not? We have a 1971 G10. That's the yellow one. And we have the another 1971 G10. So we've got two G10s. One's lifted, one's not. Couple different accessories available on these vehicles. Great paint jobs. They've done well on these. Looking at the tail lights, are those painted or are those glued on? I think those might be glued on tail lights. It's hard to say. They look great though. Good job on those. Both models have no problems there. And the Maui and Sons livery. Transparent headlights. They look good here, so that's where I kind of eat my words on the painted headlights. If they can get them in there and not have them fall out, and that they look absolutely perfect. But in my opinion, I think paint can look pretty authentic as well. These ones are not painted the best, and check out all the chips and dings on the corner of the bumper already. I mean, I didn't do that. It came with a package that way. We've got dings and chips all the way down the front valence. So, I mean, again, these are $10 Canadian, so it's not the most expensive 1/64 scale model, but they are actually more expensive than a Greenlight car, which is running about $8 Canadian and has decent details and quality for the most part. Sometimes we get a little problem like this, like a scratch in the window. That's on the dusting. Again, the dusting is superior to what we're seeing on M2's products. So overall, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I appreciate to hear about your opinions on this and where you're going to go with this collection of M2 versus the many other brands that exist. And overall, of course, as always, happy hunting. We'll see you in the next video.